I hope all is well in your corner of the world. Man, I'm really excited to get into this one today because a couple people hit me up and they told me he's got something called King Los has something called a 4-piece nugget, where I guess there's four freestyles that's somehow loosely tied together, or there's a common theme. So I don't really know if I got the order right, but I'm pretty sure I already did one or two of these tracks. So I had one they recommended "Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See." Los freestyle, and man, "Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See" used to be the jam back in the day when Busta Rhymes came out with his flow. Man, still something I don't think Busta gets the credit that he deserves for his flow. But yo, excited to check this out. There really didn't seem to be an official video. All I found was kind of this. I hope it's an official one. If it's, 'cause sometimes, man, those lyric videos be throwing you off, sending you off. But yo, let's get right into it. This is Los, right? Let's check it out. Turn me up.
Yo. King Los, look. When it comes to the propaganda, it's easily read and tied, but I wear it like pop bandana. Now how is that supposed to
red and tied? Red and tied like Pac used to wear that bandana on his head, right? Tied around, but listen to it, right?
Propaganda is easily read and tied, but I wear it like pop bandana. Now how is that supposed to be read? If it was tied to the pop bandana being over your head, cause I pop something. Better bandana, wrap a circle around your head.
No, we gotta break that down, right? He just came right in with it. He said something about propaganda, but he said it was it's easily read and tied, right? But propaganda could be read. This is a homophone, right? A homophone, however you want to say it. It's when two words sound alike, but they're spelled different, right? Red being the color red, which I happen to be wearing, but red, like I read you your rights. So that was the first part, and then how do you tie it
but
together?
I wear it like pop bandana. Now how is that supposed to be read?
How is that supposed to be read? And what did he say? He said,
was tied to the pop bandana being over your head, cause I pop something.
Yeah, so he used the red bandana and being red, but he could use either definition of red in the next sentence, right? Because he said, "How's that supposed to be read?" As if you were saying, how can that be read? Like, how can you justify choosing the color red? But also, how can that be read as how would you like define that action? Sick. And then obviously, if it was tied to Pac bandana being over your head, it's going over your head because most people probably aren't catching that right away.
Be read if it was tied to the pop bandana being over your head, cause I pop something. Better bandana, wrap a circle around your head for getting me twisted, cause I pop something. Better bandana, wrap a circle around your head for getting me twisted, and I'm not fronting. Pac was not in the front, not for nothing.
Better bandana. What did he say? I'll wrap a circle
around your head for getting me twisted, and I'm not fronting. Pac was not in the front, not for nothing. I had a dream that
better. I'll wrap a circle around your head for getting me twisted. It's the twisted. The twist of the bandana, but also you twisted. He wrapped circles around your head, right? And he's getting you confused.
Bandana being over your head, cause I pop something. Better bandana, wrap a circle around your head for getting me twisted, and I'm not fronting. Pac was not in the front, not for nothing. I had a dream that nigga hopped in my truck. Now I ain't never had an option for luck.
Not for nothing, right? He's still playing on the knot in front of the bandana. Man, this guy's wordplay is ridiculous.
Was not in the front, not for nothing. I had a dream that nigga hopped in my truck. Now I ain't never had an option for luck. I told him sit anywhere you want, my nigga, just not in the front. He said, what's the reason? I ain't got one. But in my mind I was thinking how a nigga sit up front and we call it shotgun.
Oh, right? Just the whole reference with Pac sitting up front and the shotgun, right? It makes you think of getting killed. But obviously the reference when you are going to jump in the front seat, if there's more than two people, whoever calls shotgun, whoever wants to ride shotgun is sitting up front. A lot of people don't know the origins of that, but riding shotgun, it was a phrase that was really used to describe someone who was essentially a bodyguard who would ride along when people used to have stagecoaches, right? These people used to be armed typically with a shotgun. It was called a coach gun. And, you would get bandits, you would get possibly aggressive Native Americans, but it's kind of evolved to riding right next to the driver, but that's where the original origins come from.
But in my mind, I was thinking how when niggas sit up front and we call it shotgun. And in my hood, itching for chicken to get you fried young and pigeon baked perfect or never when you was Cy Young. My city like a Rubik's Cube.
Ooh, yo, the chicken wordplay is just going bar after bar. And I want to also give you the disclaimer. If you're here to listen to this track, this is not the place. There's many other places on YouTube you can hear his flow and just let it ride. But we're here for the breakdown. We want to catch the bars, understand the context of what he's saying. There's a lot of meaning, especially with someone like Los. He's very intellectual and he's sharing information. I think it deserves a quality breakdown. So we can let it ride after we do the breakdown. But if you're here to get the song, you might get annoyed because you're going to think we talk too much because we're going to be pausing it and going back and forth.
Chicken to get you fried young and pigeon baked. My nigga just not in the front. He said, what's the reason? I ain't got one. But in my mind, I was thinking how when niggas sit up front and we call it shotgun. And in my hood, itching for chicken to get you fried young and pigeon baked perfect or never when you was Cy Young. My city like a Rubik's.
I don't know if a lot of people know who Cy Young is, right? Wasn't that guy's name Denton? Cy Young, he's a major league or was a major league baseball player. He was a pitcher. We're talking about early days. This is 1800s. But supposedly he was a really well-known pitcher. And they created an award for him called the Cy Young Award. I think it's given to the best pitcher in baseball. I don't know if there's other, how they quantify that. But the award, that's what he's referring to, right? Pitching, what did he say? Pitching big perfect or something, and he referenced Cy Young. But it sounds like he said, in my hood, chicken will get you fried young. Talking about it can get you killed. But chicken is also normally, chicken or bird is a word play typically for cocaine.
Itching for chicken to get you fried young and pigeon baked perfect or never when you was Cy Young. My city like a Rubik's Cube. Either you moving them squares or flipping over them colors, getting your block spun. Fuck all the time, I'd rather have all the grind. If I lend you my watch, I never call it mine. Now if you give it back, well that's where I draw the line. And in more than one way, you be living on borrowed time. Niggas know how I'm finna
Bro,
you gonna be
living on borrowed time because he lent you the watch, right? Now think about the setup there. He was talking about Rubik's Cubes, right? Moving them squares, right? It could be like talking about moving lanes too. When you talk about somebody who's a square or a lane, you get your block spun, but you spin the Rubik's Cube, right? And then what did he say? He was basically the wordplay was with the block and the Rubik's block. But when he talked about the watch, he's talking about the borrowed time. Because of course you borrowed the watch, and now he's gonna kill you when he sees you because you owe him his watch, right? Sick.
all the grind. If I lend you my watch, I never call it mine. Now if you don't give it back, well that's where I draw the line. And in more than one way, you be living on borrowed time. Niggas know how I'm finna come. You gonna be telling your war stories, and I'm gonna be trying to turn this bitch into one. Do you know you don't get no fleas? I kiss all the cheerleaders and don't miss no threes. If my
blood's he's hooping, or what is he? Yeah, it's got to be hooping because he's talking about threes. But just love the wordplay. He goes really well with the beat. Not as good as Busta Rhymes, though. Busta Rhymes was on this beat, but it was his song, right? But what did he say? He said, I kiss all the cheerleaders. I don't miss no threes. I'm a star, baby.
You gonna be telling your war stories, and I'm gonna be trying to turn this bitch into one. Do your dog dirty and don't get no fleas. I kiss all the cheerleaders and don't miss no threes. If my blood's lactose, they don't get no cheese. But my cuz stay invested on crypto G's.
He said if my blood's lactose, they don't get no cheese, right? No cheese playing on. So if you're lactose intolerant, right, in his blood, he can't process milk or cheese, dairy in general. But blood's gang talk, right? Crips and Bloods, and obviously getting cheese isn't money.
My blood's lactose, they don't get no cheese. But my cuz they invest, I know crypto G's. I don't rap how I clutch the nine and shit.
But my cuz stay invested. What up, cuz? Right? He's not talking about his actual cousin. But he said he's playing also off the Bloods, but also with the Crypt. He said I know crypto keys, right? Crypt like the gang, and crypto is in currency. When you first buy what they call cryptocurrency, you're issued two keys, right? You get a public key, which you could use like like an email address, right? You could send and receive money and whatnot. But the other is a string of words or letters and numbers. That's like your private key that basically unlocks the virtual vault where your cryptocurrency is or where your money is. So that's the play on Bloods and Crips and cryptocurrency. Sick.
Get no fleas. I kiss all the cheerleaders and don't miss no threes. If my blood's lactose, they don't get no cheese. But my cuz they invest, I know crypto G's. I don't rap how I clutch the nine and shit fold. You niggas airbrush them lines and get bold. How is that as such as...
Now he said something earlier about crossing the line. I feel like I might be missing something there. But what did he say? He said, here, run it back.
Toast, they don't get no cheese, but my cuz they invest, I know crypto G's. I don't rap how I clutch the nine and shit fold. You niggas airbrush them lines and get bold.
Okay, so he could be talking about like font style, right? Like get bold, go bold because you're brushing the lines. Like bold font, but getting bold, like the act of being bold or courageous, if you would.
I clutch the nine and shit fold. You niggas airbrush them lines and get bold. How is that as such as mine?
Like it's just a different way of being bold, right? He's saying like that's what you do. We're not the same.
Nine and shit fold. You niggas airbrush them lines and get bold. How is that as such as mine can get trolled? When every time I hear you bust this rhyme, I flip modes.
Ooh, that's a shout out to Busta Rhyme and his flip mode squad, right? He said I flip modes. And man, the original Busta Rhymes version of this song, he just let it go, right? He was like, hit you with no delaying. So what you saying, yo? Silly with the 9 milli, with the dilly, yo. When I be on the mic, yes, I do my duty, yo. Wild up in the club like we wild in the studio. You don't want to violate, nigga, really and truly, yo. My main thug, nigga named Julio, we moody, yo. Type of nigga slap you with the toolie, yo. Bitch nigga scared to death, act fruity, yo. Fuck that. Look at shorty, she a little cutie, yo. The way she shake it make me want to get her in the booty hole. Some shit like that. In the booty, yo, right? But yeah, it's just sick. The way he went with it, I didn't do it any justice. But that's the original version of the song. It's still called Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. Right? But shout out Flip Mode Squad, shout out Busta Rhymes.
That is such as mine can get trolled. When every time I hear you bust this rhyme, I flip
mode.
And never been a time I focused and don't grab it. If you ain't a living legend, you bogus and don't have it. Our ancestors could see the future, that's when they studied me. Then went back and wrote it on stone tablet. You niggas is a moment in time. I am infinite, compartmentalized into components of rhyme. But you poppin', you lit, you ballsy, you fly. No, you gobbling dick, you garbage, you high. It's a pyramid scheme with the vision at the top. And when you niggas try angles, you fall and you die. It's a pyramid scheme.
It's a pyramid scheme. So there's no angles, right? It's just a hierarchy. The single one that gets larger as it comes down like a pyramid. I fell for a pyramid scheme. I don't want to say fall. I invested in a pyramid scheme that went nowhere when I was in college. Shitty. Lost $400. And I think I had 4 other people lose $400.
You ballsy, you fly, no, you gobbling dick, you garbage, you high. It's a pyramid scheme with the vision at the top. And when you niggas try angles, you fall and you die. It's a pyramid scheme. I'm the vision at the top, and you can only try angles. You all see an eye. My name rings something like Saturn.
It's talking about the Eye of Providence, right? The Eye of Providence is normally it's referred to as the all-seeing Eye of God. You'll see it, right? It's the figure that depicts an eye. It's often in a triangle. You can see it on the back of a dollar bill, right? It's meant to. It has like the rays of light or glory, but it's meant to represent God watching over humanity. That's what he's talking about. But it's in the symbol like the triangle. Like a pyramid scheme would be as well.
And at the top, and you can only try angles. You all see an eye. My name rings something like Saturn. I run laps around whole planets because I study light patterns. My
Ooh, he's talking about the rings around Saturn, right? The rings around Saturn are really the most extensive visible ring system among any of the planets. Well, the planets in our solar system, right? Those little small particles that kind of make up what looks to be orbiting around Saturn. It's really just water, ice, and like rocky material. At least that's what we think it is, or what I've read it is. But yeah, that's he's talking about Saturn.
Like Saturn, I run laps around whole planets cause I study light patterns. My flow leaving flustered for days, and that was just a light angle, like I sunned them with crepuscular rays. Fuck could I say?
Oh, I've never. I think I've heard the word crepuscular. Maybe studying for an ACT exam. Maybe you hear about it in science class, but it's really not. Most people would say dawn or dusk, but it's a little bit more than that. It's kind of like the faint light associated with dawn or dusk. Don't quote me here because I don't use it, but it's normally when if you were going to use it in a sentence, you would probably be referring to the way it looked when the sun was going up or down. But it's just crazy that he's able to use that in a sentence, yet alone a rhyme. But again, who is this written for? Because who the hell has that type of knowledge to understand what he means there?
Pyramid scheme, I'm the vision at the top, and you can only try angles you all see an eye. My name rings something like Saturn. I run laps around whole planets cause I study light patterns. My flow leaving flustered for days, and that was just a light angle, like I sunned them with crepuscular rays. Fuck could I say? Niggas be believing the hype. If I don't see what you saying, I'm trying to see it tonight. They making comments, but I'm
bring it.
Light. Cause a real rock star don't give a fuck with the media right. It's my dark side of the moon flow.
Bro, he is just going off, and there's good wordplay. And it seems a little bit more than most. We might want to run it back and make sure we didn't miss anything. But he seems to keep talking about these beams of light and these light angles, right? And the wordplay is like with, I don't know if it's him being out of this world, like he's comparing his rap stardom or his lyrical ability to being out of this world or from another planet, right? He says that. He said that before, didn't he? Say, "You're extra, I'm extraterrestrial." Right. Even things like he said, a real rock star don't care what the media write. But he's not talking about a rock star like, he's talking about a rock in a star, like the rocky orbit around Saturn or the star in our solar system. So there definitely seems to be some geographic wordplay. Let's see where it goes.
Beaming with light, cause a real rock star don't give a fuck with the media right. It's my dark side of the moon flow, portal door with a loophole.
See, he's still going the dark side of the moon flow, right? So he seems to be like intergalactic wordplay here.
Rock star don't give a fuck with the media right. It's my dark side of the moon flow, portal door with a loophole. Energy meeting mattered and formulating a new soul. Beyond
energy meeting matter is creating something, right? He said formulating a new soul. Just sick. Just said that doesn't really require a breakdown, but just it's a excellent writing. And man, I don't know if anybody who's at this level, there's a lot of people like Aesop Rock that are extremely lyrical, and it's very dense and really hard to decipher. This isn't necessarily hard to decipher, but it's the wordplay is there, and it's. I was about to say it's more for your average listener, but then again, not, right? Because there's some words and even the stuff about the solar system that unfortunately just a lot of, especially younger people, don't really have a good grasp on. But again, we say there's some rides you got to be this tall to get on, and if you don't have the ability to really interpret what he's saying, maybe this ride ain't for you. But it's sick for the people that can play on this stage. The wordplay is excellent and definitely keeps you thinking. Like I'm thinking I'm missing a common theme, or I missed something that was important because I'm not getting I'm getting the references, but it sounds like there's a general theme that I'm not privy to. So maybe I'm not tall enough for this ride, but let's let it ride.
Something like Saturn. I run laps around whole planets cause I study light patterns. My flow leaving flustered for days, and that was just a light angle, like I sunned them with crepuscular rays. Fuck it, I say, niggas be believing the hype. If I don't see what you saying, I'm trying to see it tonight. They making comments, but I'm beaming with light. Cause a real rock star don't give a fuck with the media right. It's my dark side of the moon flow, portal door with a loophole. Energy meeting mattered and formulating a new soul. Be honest, it ain't nothing be honest. When I was a buck 34, I felt like I could be honest. Antetokounmpo.
Ooh, Milwaukee Bucks, right? But wait, what is that, Giannis? Isn't he 34? But he said I was a buck 34. 134. What was it? I almost thought the pager code. Remember pager codes back in the day? 143 was I love you, but 134. You know what this could be? If you, we just did, I was looking at, there's a song, it's actually an A$AP Rock song, talking about bring back Pluto is the name. Pluto lost its status as a planet, and it's now referred to as what they call a dwarf planet. But Pluto is not called Pluto anymore. Pluto is actually referred to as 134. It's 134, but a lot of people use that. It's a abbreviated version of like 1434340 or something like that. But that would make sense, right? Because he's talking about. Let me run it back a little bit.
Mattered and formulating a new soul. Be honest, it ain't nothing be honest. When I was a buck 34, I felt like I could be honest. Antetokounmpo.
You know, I wonder. I was thinking from the beginning. There's something that I missed, but he could actually be talking about a planet. Is he talking about Pluto? Let's run it back.
Yeah.
There just it seems to be something I missed here.
Look, when it comes to the propaganda, it's easily read and tied, but I wear it like Pac bandana. Now how is that supposed to be read? If it was tied to the Pac bandana being over your head, cause I Pac something. Better bandana, wrap a circle around your head for getting me twisted, and I'm not frontin'. Pac was not in the front, not for nothing. I had a dream that nigga hopped in my truck. Now I ain't never had an option for luck. I told him sit anywhere you want, my nigga, just not in the front. He said, what's the reason? I ain't got one. But in my mind I was thinking how a nigga sit up front and we call it shotgun. And in my hood, itching for chicken to get you.
Yeah, maybe not the whole version. Like I could tie it in like he's talking about red in the beginning, and it's normally Mars that's referred to as the red planet, but Pluto does have like this reddish brown color on the planet. So I thought there could be something that he's tying it to when we were talking about the red bandana. But let's just let it ride here.
Fry young and pitching base perfect, or never when we got for getting me twisted, and I'm not frontin'. Pac was not in the front, not for nothing. I had a dream that nigga hopped in my truck. Now I ain't never had an option for luck. I told him sit anywhere you want, my nigga, just not in the front. He said, what's the reason? I ain't got one. But in my mind I was thinking how a nigga sit up front and we call it shotgun. And in my hood, itching for chicken to get you fried young and pitching base perfect, or never when you was Cy Young. My city like a Rubik's Cube. Either you moving them squares or flipping over them colors, getting your block spun. Fuck all the shine, I'd rather have all the ground.
You know, there's a lot of talk about orbiting, right? He's talked a few times about things getting twisted, and he uses it a few different times. He said flip, he said twisted, talking about the Rubik's Cube and getting your block spun. You know, it could be just about the universe or solar system in general, but you got to think about the orbiting, right? So it's definitely something he could be referencing here.
If I lend you my watch, I never call it mine. Now if you don't give it back, well that's where I draw the line. And in more than one way, you be living on borrowed time. Niggas know how I'm finna come.
Living on borrowed time too would play because the reddish brown reason on Pluto. I'm just happening. He could have possibly referenced Pluto here at the end of the track. But Pluto is actually losing its atmosphere. Over time, it's just going to become one big icy ball where the atmosphere kind of becomes the land. So it technically is living on borrowed time because it's dying. But again, this is just loosely. I'm trying to go back through and see if there's another common theme that I might be missing here.
Well, that's where I draw the line. And in more than one way, you be living on borrowed time. Niggas know how I'm finna come. You gon' be telling your war stories, and I'm gon' be trying to turn this bitch into one. Do your dog dirty and don't get no fleas. I kiss all the cheerleaders and don't miss no threes. If my blood's lactose, they don't get no cheese. But my cuz stay invest, I know crypto G's. I don't rap how I clutch the 9 and shit fold. You niggas airbrush them lines and get bold. How a status such as mine can get trolled. When every time I hear you bust this rhyme, I flip modes. It never been a time I focused and don't grab it. If you ain't a living legend, you bogus and don't have it. Our ancestors could see the future, that's when they studied me. Then went back and wrote it on stone tablet. You niggas is a moment in...
See, that's that. When I first heard that, I didn't know if I was gonna go back to it because I thought there could be a reference, his name King Los, right? I think his real name is Carlos, but King Los, I thought he might be referencing that being written somewhere, right? Like written on, he says a tablet, right? So
see the future, that's when they studied me. Did ain't a living legend, you bogus and don't have it. Our ancestors could see the future, that's when they studied me.
See, and that's what makes me think that there's definitely an underlying theme here. And it's kind of hard to put my finger on it. It seems to reference Pluto at the end, but it could just be referencing our solar system. Pluto is no longer considered a planet, which he knows because he referenced the number for Pluto, possibly. But he seems to be talking about orbiting. But he said, well, you're not a living legend, and borrowed time, right? You're not a living legend. But then he said, our ancestors could see the future. That's when they studied me. And we know that we're getting a lot of information now that these really ancient civilizations really had a good grasp on astrology. And not just astrology, but when you look at our universe and our place in the universe. And there are he said they went back and they wrote it on stone tablets. And that makes me think of ancient Sumerian tablets, right? We have those tablets where there's a depiction which looks like the solar system. And we have to ask ourselves, how is it that they were able to accomplish this without modern technology, right? Without modern science? It was a very different world. There's no smog. There's no pollution. So I'm sure it was a very clear, there's no shining bright downtown lights. So it would have been much easier to see the stars at night. But when you start talking about the planets and the solar system and Pluto, yes, there's times when Pluto aligns and the planets show much larger than, every so many years. But I just think it would be extremely hard to have a good grasp of the solar system without modern technology. But it definitely sounds like he's referencing it here.
Ain't a living legend, you bogus and don't have it. Our ancestors could see the future, that's when they studied me. Then went back and wrote it on stone tablet. You niggas is a moment in time. I am infinite, compartmentalized into components of rhyme. But you poppin', you lit, you ballsy, you fly. No, you gobbling dick, you garbage, you high. It's a pyramid scheme with the vision at the top. And when you niggas try angles, you fall and you die. It's a pyramid scheme, I'm the vision at the top. And you can only try angles, you all see an eye. My name rings something like Saturn. I run laps around whole planets cause I study light patterns.
See, he's talking about Saturn, he's talking about the light patterns. I don't know if it's anything specific, but it definitely sounds like there's that solar system wordplay there. Man, it's sick. I can't wait to get into the next track. When I did when they sent me this 4-piece nugget, I believe the next one that we have to do is called Survival of the Fittest. Now I'm really excited to get into that one and see if there's a common theme. But I got to check and see what the order is. I don't know if they all kind of collectively have this, is it a theme that builds on the first song? Is there a particular order? Let me know in the comment section if there's, are these listed? Are they numbered somehow? I believe somebody might have told me in the comments as well. But if you guys are fans, especially of King Los or any lyrically dense artist, show some love, like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we're creating folders with different artists, and we're doing really in-depth breakdowns of their freestyles, their catalog. If you guys are fans, we'll see you on the next show.